Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox, and in today's video, I want to take a concept, an idea that Ken Fannin, one of our own Vikings, brought up, mentioned, whatever. I want to kind of take that and run with it a little bit. And that was skin in the game. But before we do that, by way of intro, do you know what ninjas drink? Water! It's water. I know, goofy, right? All right. Skin in the game. You know, it's amazing the number of people that think their opinion matters. I see it all the time on my YouTube videos. People who pontificate and go on, and you know, it's kind of like the Teddy Roosevelt, the man in the arena quote. You know, it's easy to pick how the brave man stumbled, you know, to point that out and stuff like that. We are all born with, you know, we are all created equal, but we don't have equal rights. Ooh. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but we don't have equal rights. I'll give you an example. If a police officer observes somebody speeding down the road, he has the right to pull them over, to get some basic information from them. He has the right, if he feels a little bit one way or another, to get that person out of the car, right? He has all these rights as a police officer. You observe somebody speeding, you don't have any of those rights. Right? We all have different rights. And so I think it starts from there. I was talking to the millennial man the other day about how when we go to what I call condition black, when things have changed and it doesn't look like they're ever coming back, a lot of people gonna die very quickly. And some of those people who die are going to be people who haven't flipped their brain over to the new way of operating, and they think their opinion and their words can still be given out without consequences. Very minor example because I'm getting off track here a little bit, but that's okay. You know, if you're a man and I were to look at you and your lady friend, wife, daughter, whatever, and make some disparaging remark about her. Just a really bad remark. If you hit me for that, you could go to jail today. But it wasn't that long ago that if somebody insulted your woman like that, you could pull out your sword and run them through. And in fact, in many places of the world, go ahead and try that. Even some places here in this country, I might add. Try that and watch what happens, right? But people think that, you know, and I am in this manner talking about kind of liberal snowflake people who think that they can rant and rave and throw bags of urine on somebody with no consequence. Actions have consequences, and when the game changes, when we go to condition black, those consequences are going to happen very quickly for some people. And then things will level out and people will figure it out. But that's a little bit of a digression. Skin in the game. But it's related because people show up and they think they have the right to be heard. They think they have the right to influence decisions. I have been involved in many organizations, from the military and various types of organizations within the military to, you know, I was a pastor. Before I was a pastor, I was on a church membership board thing of a different church. I've been a volunteer firefighter. I've been in scouts and all these different things. So you have all these groups of people that come together and make decisions, right? And I'm always a very active person. When I get involved in something, I'm involved, right? I'm not going to sign up to join your committee and then never come, never help, never sweat, never carry, never work. If I sign up, I'm there, right? And it never ceased to amaze me, no matter what the organization was, people who never did nothing would show up and try to dominate a conversation or severely, significantly influence a decision. And many times they were successful just by not shutting up. And people were uncomfortable dealing with that. They're like, well, you know, I disagree. I think da 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 da. And it goes back to the Teddy Roosevelt quote. You know, where were you when the cloth was whole? Where were you when we were creating this thing? And now you want to come in and change it all? You who have contributed nothing? And again, like I said, in many cases in today's society, those loud, persistent people are heard, are listened to, and they get kind of what they want. This is not how it should be. We have a... Do I want to talk about this? I'll talk about it. It's kind of probably self-evident, and if not, it'll become self-evident very quickly. We have different categories of people at Shofar Mountain. We have the people who live on the land. We have the people who are in a very tight-knit group around the land. And then we have, you know, kind of like motorcycle club associates, you know, people who are kind of far-flung. And we have plans for some of these people with prior arrangement to show up at Shofar Mountain in the event of terrible times. Who gets to make decisions? The people with skin in the game, literally and figuratively. The major decisions get made by those who have committed early, those who have skin in the game, those who joined with us in our neo-pioneer experiment, if you will, early when there was no need to, right? And they have poured their blood, sweat, and tears into the process and stuck it through the good times and the bad times, and now this arrives. Who do you think has more say? Them or somebody who goes, yeah, that looks like a lifeboat, I think I'll try and get on it? Life ain't fair. Everybody doesn't have the same voice. Everybody doesn't have the same decision-making authority ability. I think right now, everybody can agree with that. In theory, in principle. Until you make yourself one of the people that doesn't have the decision-making authority. Put yourself in those shoes. You know, whatever your plans were now, they didn't work out, and so now you show up with a group and you think you're going to tell that group how to run business. I can tell you in our case it ain't going to happen. A lot of people today, and I'm telling you, in my personal little circles, I probably know 4 or 5 people who let other people walk all over them over issues and things that those people really have no right to do anything. I don't want to get too personal, so, you know, I'm not going to go there, so I'm just going to make up some things on the fly, so hopefully they fit for myself. I just had a house full of people, right? You know that. Let's say somebody came to the house for the, you know, the week-long soiree and said, oh, I only drink, what don't I drink? Tonic water. Oh, you don't have any tonic water? Oh, well, I only drink tonic water. I need tonic water. I know a lot of people who would go bend over backwards and go get tonic water for this person and stop doing what they were doing that was important. You know, be like, okay, well, I got to go get her or him tonic water because yada, yada, yada. And they just kind of bend over backwards and change their whole life. And what they ought to do is say, okay, there's a store, you know, 10 miles that way. Pretty sure they sell tonic water. And while you're out, could you pick us up some milk because we're running low? See? Ooh. People are afraid to do that. And you need to do that. And you need to understand everybody would be better off if they understood their place. Ooh, doesn't that sound a little bit like that? If you're in charge, understand that you're in charge. It has no good. It does no good to have authority and power if you don't use it. There's another concept. But if you're not in charge, you ought to realize that you're not in charge. Somebody else is in charge. And realize kind of where you are. You know, it used to be a big thing where people sat at the table. The king, the baron, the whatever would sit in one place, and then he had his right hand man and his left hand whatever, and you know, proximity equals power, right? That's still the case in reality. You look at the White House, who's ever closest to the Oval Office has more power. Who do you think has more say in what goes on? One of the reasons Trump is driving people crazy, because he's kind of upset that apple cart a little bit. The people that used to have power, they don't have power anymore. The people that used to have influence, they don't have influence on him. And it's driving them crazy, and they're plotting a coup of one kind or another. So, skin in the game. You got to look at it from two aspects, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it's important. When in charge, take charge. Be in charge, and don't be afraid to be in charge. You can be in charge and still care about people, but still be in charge. That doesn't mean you have to be wishy-washy and bend over backwards and do everything yourself. And I know servant leadership, I get that. But I'm talking now bigger groups of people. You, if you're in charge, cannot do everything. And if you're not in charge, you don't get to make the final decision. And if you're brand new to an organization, nobody really cares what you have to say about big things. And to the extent that you have people skills, people may listen to you. But just because they hear you doesn't mean they're going to do what you say. Nor should they. Skin in the game. How much do you have? And see, now we get to, okay, well, that's all good and interesting, PJ, but, you know, what do you want me to do with that? Here's what I want you to do with that. If you want to have influence in a group, you need to start now. You need to participate now. You need to help now. You need to donate your blood, sweat, tears, and yes, skin now to that organization, to that group. You need to be one of the 10% of people that actually does something in an organization. And that has held true in I'm what, 56 now? That's a really good rule of thumb. About 10% of the people of any organization are the actual doers, even though about 80% want to have a say in what happens, right? And in many cases, again, the organizations are structured that other 70%, of the people that want to have a say, they actually can have a say. When this country first started, there was a lot of argument about making it a requirement for people to have land before they could vote. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Letting people participate in government, in our government, and vote where our tax dollars go, when they don't contribute any tax dollars, how do you think they're going to vote? More of your money to them. What did somebody say? Democracy? Whoa, that thing is big. My God, that's a big wasp. I think it's about that long. And fat. As fat as my finger. I've never seen a wasp like that. Don't want to see it. My God. Get thee behind me, Satan. I'm going to get you. Sorry, I know. And I'm not going to edit this video. I guess I'm in their house now, so I need to go because I don't have skin in this game. And quite frankly, I don't want to put skin in this game. But hey, if you want to have a say, then take part now. Participate now. Pour yourself into the organization now. That's one of the reasons I tell you all to start your groups now. Form your tribes now. Get things going now so that you are an integral part of it and you have say. Get some skin in the game. All right, I'll see you out there.